I don't know where you live in the UK at the moment, whether you live in a rural village or whether you live right in the centre of, say, for instance, London, Bradford, Birmingham, or whatever. How do you feel about Islam? Do you feel there's any threat from Islam, or do you feel there's no problem at all? I want your comments, and basically, I'm wondering because at the moment, looking at this, and I've just done a quick look on Google, if you trust them, and according to the latest 2021 United Census, 3,801,186 Muslims live in England, and that makes up 6.7% of the population of the UK. That was in 2021. 2 years on down the road, and don't forget, there's been people coming into the country naturally and legally, not to mention all the people that are coming across via the boats, etc., etc. So that figure is probably wrong now, I would imagine. Now, given the latest thing that's going on at the moment with between Israel and Gaza and the protests that we're getting at the moment in all the major cities, I thought it would just be in a few, but it seems that they're everywhere at the moment. All the protests, the shows of force, what's apparently going to be happening on Remembrance or Armistice Day, I should say, and probably on Remembrance Sunday, but we can't be too sure about that. But nevertheless, the show of force that's coming from Islam at the moment and the continual pushing of the boundaries that we're getting at the moment and the shows of dominance, do you feel threatened by it? Or do you feel that it is what it is? Do you feel that, well, maybe if this country does and the demographics change and we end up being Muslim, will that be a bad thing? I mean, there are people, I do believe, that will think that would probably be a good thing. I'm not one of them, all right? I'll say that quite clearly. I believe in less government, less everything, all right? Now, I'm pretty sure that should Islam take over as the dominant religious population of the UK, then our politics would change, our way that we live our lives would change dramatically, and I personally think for the worst. However, there are people that would disagree with me, and there are people from Islam that would sugarcoat it and say, well, under Islam, you wouldn't have, say, for instance, all of this LGBT rubbish. You wouldn't have a load of other things similar to that. No, we wouldn't, but we also wouldn't have a lot of stuff that we hold dear to us that we believe that makes us English, Welsh, Scottish, Irish, British, depending on where you are in the UK. So do you personally think it's a threat, given all that's going on at the moment? And don't forget, this conflict that's going on in the Middle East shouldn't be having this sort of impact on us. I mean, the amount of people that are now marching on the street, and will get worse, by the way. The last time we had people showing that sort of level of force coming out on the street, I think the poll tax, it was something like the poll tax time, or actually, I believe there were more that actually came out into the centre of London against the war in Iraq when there was the weapons of mass destruction bullshit that many people could see through even then. And I believe a lot of people came out. But since then, this has been the most amount of people that ever came out on the street. So it'll be interesting to know what exactly will happen. The other interesting note, I believe there was a person who's rather high up in the police who was out there chanting from the river to the sea. And I don't know what the outcome of that's going to be. But other people who are more learned than myself and certainly have a better, more wordsmith, have said we have been infiltrated at all levels. Well, we have. We've got politicians that are pro-Muslim. We've got mayors that are pro-Muslim, etc., etc. Now, police. So do you see that there is a clear and present danger, or do you think it's fearmonger from me? Do you think that there is going to be and will be a consistent problem from Islam? Or do you believe that Islam can be appeased? Do you believe that if you concede to them and give them all of their demands that they could be pleased, that they'll be happy, that maybe they'll calm down? Or do you believe that it's like the bully that will keep giving you grief and playing it up and doing whatever it wants to do and bullying you until you eventually deal with the bully? That's my personal belief, that you cannot appease a bully. There is no way to do it. And I believe that the people who lead Islam have a design to take over the world and make the world Islamic. Now, don't forget the population of the world and how much of the population of the world is already Islamic. You might want to look into the figures. They're rather high, all right? But that is its driving force to promote and and to make Islam the dominant force of the world. So how do you think that UK would function under, say, for instance, Sharia law, and being run by Islam? How do you think that? Do you think we would do better? Do you think that we would do worse? Do you think that the indigenous people of this country would be okay, or do you think they'd be persecuted? Do you think that, say, for instance, women in the future have, and this is white women, or actually, no, I'll go further and say any other woman that isn't Islamic, do you think they have anything to fear in the future from Islam? Do you think our kids have anything to fear in the future from Islam? Do you think that, say, for instance, the LGBT community who are out there at the moment waving their flags and are pro Islam, do you think they thought this through? Do you think that they think that because we are a forward country, a westernized country with all of our democracies and our laws and everything that protects their freedom to be whatever it is that they wish to be at the time and to say what they believe in, do you believe that, or do you think they believe that when Islam takes over, because the way it's going at the moment, it's inevitable, do you think that they think that basically they'll be fine because they've been pro-Islam? I want you to know that personally, until my dying day, I will oppose Islam because I believe it's an evil force. That's my personal belief. And at some point, my life will be in danger because of my thoughts and what I say. But those are the things that, you know, you can't not say it because that's the case, as though many do. It's one of those things that if you believe in doing the right thing for your country, if you believe in your country, if you love your country, then you have to do things that may well put you in danger at some point because, well, nothing ever comes from being nice and peaceful. If you think of all the things that this country's gained in the past, it didn't do it by asking for it. It had to do it by physical means. But there it is. So I believe that you've got to best foot forward, say exactly what you think, say it to everybody you know, and let the chips fall where they may. And if more people did it, we wouldn't have so much of a problem. But at least Islam's putting its cards on the table at the moment and showing us exactly what it has for us, what it thinks for us, etc. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Are you worried about Islam? Are you scared of Islam? Are you pro-Islam? Do you think that Islam's a good thing? Let me know what you think in the comments and I'll have a read through them. Anyway, cheers for watching and I'll see you in a bit.